after he had shot this film and trying to decide what to do with it was he was worried about anti-Semitism.
Yeah, he was. He was very worried about the moral dimension of profiting financially from the president's murder. And he was worried about the intrinsic moral problem, and he was worried about the perception of it. And that, you know, as a Jew, especially in reactionary Dallas, that this type of anything along these lines would result in a backlash against the Jewish community, the sort of tropes that we're used to seeing Jews profiting at any cost. So he really struggled. And I think the deal with Life magazine, choosing Life magazine, was partly about finding a responsible place for the film. But he also donated the first installment of the money to this widow of Officer Tippit, who had been murdered by Oswald in the movie theater. And that was a way in which he could, I think, contend with this worry that, you know, that he was going to be perceived as profiting from the film.
Did you ever think in your research, like, why didn't he just give it away? Why did he even take any money?
I did. I mean, you know, I think any thoughtful person would have that question, and any thoughtful person would also see the other side of it, that he grew up incredibly poor. He grew up in Imperial Russia with nothing, with an incredibly insecure life. And here was this thing that happened to him, and it suddenly represented a financial boon. And it's painful to acknowledge it, but it's true. I think everyone who knew him said, and I think that this is true, that had the Secret Service said, Mr. Zapruder, we want the film and the camera, he would have absolutely turned it over.
But they gave it back to him.
But they gave it back to him. And they said, Forrest Sorrell said, you know, it's yours to do with it what you will. And that was both a responsibility and an opportunity. You know, I think it depends on how you see it. For him, it was a tremendous burden, because I think although it would have been hard to walk away from the money, it was also very difficult to live with the consequences of having taken the money. And so I think he did the best he could in a difficult situation. And I think that part of this book is about, you know, for my grandfather first and then for my father, it's about their humanity. You know, people aren't either saints or sinners most of the time. They are faced with these difficult questions, and they have to navigate all that complexity and try to find the right balance and do the best they can. And I think my grandfather did that, and I think my father did that. And my father's circumstances got even more complicated as the stakes got bigger and bigger.